What's up? Back with another Clash Royale video. And in today's video, we're going to do things a little different. I think it's long overdue, actually, that I speak to a little bit of the content I plan to put out there, Clash Royale-wise. And probably most importantly is how my content is compared to the content that's already being put out there and has been for years. Obviously, those are the pro Clash Royale YouTubers that I'm speaking of, which obviously gets the majority of the views. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about the comparison of the two, but most importantly, just what you can expect from my channel, which you'll notice as I kind of go through this, the overall theme of my message and my content will be relatable type videos, ones that the majority, I say we, but the majority, because the majority of us are not pros, but the majority of us can relate to. So that all being said, for the past week, I've actually jotted down a bunch of notes of what I wanted this video to include, and I wanted to jot down the notes so that I made sure I didn't miss anything. I promise you, I probably will still miss stuff, but I have the bulk of my message here, and it's sort of written out in front of me. So I'm going to read off of this script that I created. So obviously, I'll be looking up and at it as I read. I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So, but yeah, let me go ahead and just start off here with saying, first of all, I wanted to make sure that I state that this is not, by any means, this is not a video to put down pro Clash Royale YouTubers, but instead I wanted to highlight the differences between them, their content, and mine, which I think will be more relatable to the majority of the players out there. And who are the majority of the players out there? They are average or even above average skill set players, and I think that is the content I ultimately hope to be able to provide. So now, what does all that mean? So, but before I actually get to that, I also wanted to state that my channel and creating content on YouTube is still very new to me. I really wanted to get this thing going, creating content, the hardware and all the stuff involved, understanding how it all works, but haven't, again, really highlighted the goals of the channel, and that's what I want to do now. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that. So moving on, right? So, I watch pro Clash Royale YouTubers all the time, right? Every single day, probably will watch their content multiple times a day, as well as all of you guys do. So it's entertaining, it's informative, and it certainly gives me, and I'm sure you guys, something to strive for on our road to becoming better, right? Overall, better players. That's great, right? So that said, there's enough of that content, in my opinion, out there. There's plenty of them out there. So I just don't think we need more of that, right? I think we have enough established pro Clash Royale YouTubers out there. So now, before I proceed, I'd like to say also that what I'm about to say is going to include some assumptions, right? They're going to be strong assumptions, but indeed they are just assumptions, right? So there could be, they could not be completely accurate, right? So I could be a little off, but again, I feel like they're strong enough that if I am off, it won't be by a whole lot. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers here, that that's going to be the case. I hope my assumptions are accurate. I've heard comments made in the past and stuff like that, so I feel like they're going to be pretty accurate, but they are just assumptions. So I just wanted to state that. All right, so moving on, right? Pro players play a lot, obviously, to get where they are, right? When they post videos, most, if not all of their losses will be edited out, right? And I totally understand that, and I totally get why they do it, right? Who wants to see losses, and they want to put out the best content that they can, right? So how can they showcase a deck, meta or otherwise? How can they showcase a deck if they're losing with it, right? So they obviously have to massage the videos and everything like that and put good content out. I totally get it, totally understand, and it works. So no issues there. But again, I'm going to kind of just move into that relatable piece, and you'll see, again, overall theme here. So, but just to stay on track here, oh yeah, so I totally understand, they want the best video, and who wants to see losses? No one wants to see that, especially when it's a deck that they're promoting. So totally get that. But in my opinion, and I ask this as a rhetorical question, right? Can't that be just a little misleading on how good a particular deck is, right? Maybe not. I don't know. It's still a good question to ask, depending, they may play 70 times, 80 times, 100 times, within a day, to try out a deck. He's like, what is that ratio? Is it 75% win, right? And that's a pretty good percentage, right? And then people probably can take that and win with it, but those are very valid questions that certainly can be asked. So I certainly ask those questions. But so again, those videos certainly have their place for sure. But what does that ultimately do for the majority of the players that try those decks, especially at the wrong, I put that in caps there, right? The wrong trophy range, and or don't even have the card levels to effectively use the deck, right? That obviously is a huge issue. I'm pretty sure that leads to frustration in most cases. Certainly has for me. Sometimes when I try the decks, right? Even if I have it maxed out, still. So now I spoke about the card. I spoke about card levels, and though that's a huge piece overall, I think that the thoughts and frustrations behind that issue, I should say, I don't know if it's really an issue. It's just the nature of the game, right? If you don't have cards leveled up, you don't have cards leveled up. But I think the frustrations behind that are obvious, right? Paid to win versus free to play, all those things. So I don't feel like I need to discuss that in too much detail outside of not being able to try some of the decks or all the decks, or obviously you may have one or two cards that aren't fully maxed out. I guess it depends on your trophy range, but let's just say higher up ladder, you don't have the cards maxed out, or at least all of them, so you can't effectively try out the deck, right? In my opinion, probably your opinion as well. So that's really all I wanted to kind of say about that, because again, card levels are obvious. Everyone knows about that. So then this is more like a question, right? So ultimately, what do we want after we watch a Clash Royale YouTube video or multiple videos, right? We want to feel like that we learned something, but most importantly, we want to be able to take what we learned and apply that in battle, right? We want to be able to. Otherwise, what's the point? Outside of some humor and some fun, watching a video, what's the point? We want to be able to take that and run with it and climb, right? We want, as frustrating as ladder can be, and people complain this, that, and the other, but we still play this game, right? I certainly still play this game. I've ranted. Who hasn't? We're human, right? We're going to have our opinions, but at the end of the day, we want to be able to apply what we learned, So again, is it relatable, right? I keep using that word, and then I'll continue with that theme throughout the duration of this video. So again, that's what we want to be able to do, right? Apply what we learn. So that, again, kind of piggybacking that, is just to reiterate that that's a key piece, in my opinion, right? The reality is most of us aren't successful with what we learned and or aren't even in the same trophy range to apply it successfully. Speaking about trophy range, right? I don't care what people say. That has a huge impact on what you see and play against. At the pro level, cup-wise, way up there, 66 plus, probably 7,000 plus, you'll actually play people that have high skill, obviously, more meta-type decks, etc. In some ways, you could argue that there's an advantage to that, right? The way I see it is this, is how many times do you watch a pro YouTuber, right? A pro Clash Royale YouTuber, and they're battling, right, on CWA's videos, and it's like, oh, yeah, I know this guy. Yeah, he's running this deck. Oh, yeah, it's Splash Yard. it's this. It's 2.9. That's just not relatable, right? Do we know meta decks? Of course we know meta decks, etc. But, I don't think at the lower level, when I say lower level, I'm saying something like, let's just talk about 6,000 cups. Let's just talk between 6,000 and 6,300, right? Just that range. You could even say 5,600 to 6,300. Maybe that's a better range. We'll see certain meta decks and things like that, but we certainly aren't seeing players that we just know, things like that. We're just not seeing that, like they are. So again, they're gonna post videos, like this is the deck that beats all decks, all these different kinds of things and stuff like that. And it's after editing out their losses, right? But we just can't relate to that, and we're not in that same trophy range. So, to continue on with that, like I said, pro level trophy range versus here I say, my thought is in a lower level, cup-wise, versus the high level, right, pro level, you'll face all kinds of weird stuff, right? Maybe I'm the only one that does, but I'm certain that you guys do as well. But you'll, like I put it as an example here. The other day I did a battle and I faced a Golem, MK, E-Barb's Rage, and guess what? I lost to it. It's probably a deck that you guys would lose to. And what's more frustrating than that is this is the type of player that will win one battle and lose 14. You just happen to be the one that lost, right? And, to touch on that a little bit, I'm certainly not saying that this person who made that deck is, not a skillful player, or they're, not taking the game serious, whatever the case is. But it is super frustrating to lose, at least for me. We all feel like we're better than the next, right? I mean, why do we play this game? Of course, right? We feel like we can beat anyone. But it's super frustrating when you know you're better than the person that just beat you, and they just used some weird combination of cards. Average elixirs like 55.6, some crazy, but you lost. You still lost, so it's super frustrating. But my point is typically, I almost want to say 100% of the time, these pros aren't seeing that. You go into challenges and stuff like that, that's a different story, right? Maybe it is, but it probably is. But on ladder, they're not seeing that stuff, right? Instead, they're seeing stuff like, 2.9, or, well, obviously we see 2.9, but it's more than the meta deck that's being run. It's more like, I know this guy. Yep, in that clan, he runs this, that's just, they're not seeing the craziness that we see at our range. So that just to end on that note that's what I mean by trophy range. That has a huge impact on what you see and how you play and the decks that you can actually use. So again, it's just not relatable. There's that word again. It's just not relatable to what I see from the YouTube content that's out there. I talked about that being a key piece there. So basically, I kind of get into the summary here, right? So in summary, content-wise, right, I hope to bring content that's real life for most of us, which is, we obviously want to continue to get better, but I don't want to edit out my losses, since we can't do that for real. I may lose every match. I may win every match. I may be 50-50. I don't know. But that'll be the video, right? I'm not gonna massage it or anything like that. Outside of like my dialogue or things like that, if it's just crappy, then I'll probably want to edit that. You're right. You can kind of redo that. But when it comes to gameplay, if I'm already starting my video and I'm doing gameplay, that's the video. That's what it's going to be. I hope to win all of them, obviously, but that's again not relatable and it's not real life, And I certainly want to be creative when I make my decks. I do want to share decks that are off meta. And I don't mind sharing decks that are meta as well, if I feel like I can use it, and you guys, can learn from it, I'm fine with that. But again, there's content like that already out there, right? If you want to learn about 2.6 Hog Rider, search it. You'll find plenty of content already out there. So I want to be a little more unique, I guess. And I feel like I can make, pretty solid decks, and things like that. So I do hope to bring that content as well. But again, at the end of the day, just relatable content. So, but yeah, like I said, that'll be the video, no cutting out losses or anything like that. So, real life gameplay. Yep. Like I said, you'll get the good with the bad and everything in between, again, relatable content. Pros facing pros higher on ladder is different than using a pros deck mid ladder, right? And again, when I say mid ladder, let's just use the 56 to 63 range. It's just not going to be the same. At least for me, it hasn't. I could be doing something totally wrong, but after all these years since launch, after all these years of playing this game, man, I'm really off if I'm doing something wrong then. So this is truly what I feel is what happens to the majority of players, what I'm speaking of, right? The relatable content, everything that I just spoke about. I feel like that's the majority of us, right? And I think we all, we want to feel each other's pain and all that kind of stuff. And we just want to be able to relate. You know what I mean? It's, again, pie in the sky when we watch these pro Clash Royale players. It's definitely pie in the sky. But again, it's not relatable. It is not relatable. So, but yeah, so the majority of players, and that's all I want, right? To play this game I enjoy and share that with most who can relate to what I go through every time I play, talking about the average to mid-average players. So yeah, that's it, right? At the end of the day, that's what you can expect from this channel. Not a lot more, not a lot less, right? It can obviously evolve over time, and I have no expectations, and I have, zero thoughts on where this will actually go. Obviously, it's a lot more fun when you have more interaction, with viewers and things like that. But at the end of the day, like, even if I'm getting a handful of views, and I feel like maybe there's a little bit of dialogue kind of going back and forth, I feel like it's still fun. For me, it's enjoyable to have all of this content, content, yeah, of course, but the hardware and just like kind of stringing it all together. It's been a fun ride, and I enjoy putting it out there. And that's sort of what led to me starting this channel, is because I already play this game every single day, multiple times a day. I don't let up. I mean, I'm always playing. Why not stream it, live stream? I'll do live streams as well. I tried that the other day. I think I've done 2, just for fun. So I'm going to be doing that more often, actually. Live streaming actually is a lot easier than creating YouTube, in my opinion. Like actual pre-made videos and uploading and things like that. Just live streaming, good to go. I like that. So, but why not just stream or create content while I'm already playing the game anyways? So, but I think I hit all the points, and again, at the end of the day, this was not a put them down kind of a thing. They certainly have their place, but at the end of the day, I always felt when I was done watching their videos, I had hundreds of questions, and then I just felt like I really couldn't apply a whole lot, outside of probably learning a few things like, tile placement, or, I didn't know that, right? Things like that, or NATO activation, or save spots with the miner, right? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't really take that and be like, man, a new trophy high, if it was a new trophy high for me on ladder, it was because I grinded and I made my own tweaks and I applied the fundamentals that I already know about the game, So again, I'll end here and just say that I hope to bring relatable content to this channel, that most people can view and say, man, that's exactly what I just went through, or something like that. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'll cut the video here. Tomorrow I will get back to ladder gameplay and things like that. And that'll probably be the majority of what I always upload. Obviously challenges and things like that. I still want to, work on, my grand challenge badge, and things like that as well. So small little things like that, all the little fun challenges, Supercell releases as well. I'll probably post that stuff as well. But hope you guys understand, and again, the last time I'll use the word, I hope you guys can relate to what I'm saying, and we can just continue to kind of grow together and even rage a little bit. So appreciate y'all listening to the end here, and until tomorrow, hope everyone has a good one. Peace out.